Okay, so this is uh, the product of trying to just organize everything into digestible parts. They say that if you have, an organized workspace, it reflects in a more organized mind. And I don't know if that's true, but it seems like a good idea. Probably a very organized, naturally organized person said that. But anyway, it helps me too. It makes me less stressed out to just have things sort of organized and in order because a lot of stuff has been just piles of stuff like this. And that's stressful when you get to have so many different setups to the point that I have had now with 7 of these etudes in motion. So here's the first 3. Opus 10 numbers 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 is right around here, and then number 2 is right around here, and then number 3 is right around here. And I say that in sort of like a Venn diagram kind of way because each etude is sharing different materials. So in other words, like these fish hooks, for example, these fish hooks are going to be used. Fish hooks and bolts really are all used in the Etude Opus 10 number 1. But then I also need those bolts in number 3 for here. They're very important for that. But then I also need those fish hooks for number 2. They're very important for that. And the things on the edges are only for that particular etude. So like those sets of fish hooks, those straws and pencil grips, these tin foil and washers. So, things are shared, but then there's also sort of an identity to each thing. 1, 2, and 3. So that's sort of my way of organizing right now. What it tells me is I need way more of these fish hook screws. I need way more bolts so that there's not so much sharing going on. And with all the sharing, sometimes it's just hard to keep things organized. I think it would be nice to have more of those. It's going to cost more though, so that's the other element is like how much is this going to cost? We'll see. I'll have to go and check things out, but if it does cost too much to just buy a bunch of like repeats of everything, I think it's good to have sort of like still containers that have the materials that are being used for just that one piece. And if that's the case, then I still might need more materials eventually because I'm going to keep, making more prepared piano setups. I might need more straws because they need the whole length of this straw for those pieces. Anyway, it's all just sort of food for thought for me right now to figure out how am I going to proceed with organizing the materials and in turn how will I be accessing them quickly and efficiently for live performances. Okay, this first set of preparations for Opus 10 number 1 took me 15 minutes, 33 seconds, to be exact. And a lot of that time was taken up with figuring out the right bolts and kind of tuning the notes to the bolts, making sure I got the right harmonic and the right size bolt to make the note sympathetic and well-rounded, especially within those 2 registers. So a really important thing I learned is the thicker, thicker bolts, like just bigger and thicker, are better for the ones down here, for the 4 spots here. They all need to be the same. They all need to be the same type of bolt for it to match. These need to be all the same as well, and the flat-headed bolts are really great. For some reason up here they just sound so much better. So I need more of these because I borrowed from my John Cage setup for the flat heads. So yeah, those are really great, but I need more of those. I need 4 more of those, all brass and the same size to work there. The fishhook screws are pretty simple and self-explanatory. I discovered just an important little change to this spot here. I used to put it on the C to wrap it around the C, but because I have to prepare way more of these rubbers on all of these single string notes down here, for the Opus 10 number 2, I'm actually going to start it off a little to the left. It would have been wrapped around this note. It would have been going under this string here, but instead I put it under this string because I will eventually do 3 here, 3 here, 3 here to cover those notes for Opus 10 number 2. So this actually gets me a head start to doing Opus 10 number 2. So it's kind of a planning ahead thing to get used to doing now, which will save me time in the subsequent etude piano preparation. So here it is, Opus 10 number 1. Okay, one additional change I made in this register, C, E flat, E natural, and F. I used the cup hook screws that I got recently and tightened them all the way so it's almost like a hybrid of a bolt and a screw to match the same notes of the middle C4 register here of the bolts. So I added that to the setup. right, here's the Chopin Etude Opus 10 number 2. It took me 28 minutes to set up. 28 minutes, 27 minutes and like 50 seconds or something like that. Yeah, so a lot of things I just didn't have memorized and had to mess around with, but I actually think this could be really fast now that I did that. But I think I need to figure out how to have all those fishhook screws on hand. A couple changes. I went all the way up to C. Up to C for fishhook screw, and down to F sharp. All right, I've consolidated everything for the first three etudes into this right here. I'm going to try again to do the first two as quickly as possible, maybe the third two, but I just want to see how fast I can do the first one and then transitioning into the second one. And now that I'm more organized and have everything just ready to go. Okay, that wraps up the alloy day, I believe 22. It was really great to work on the Chopin Etudes Opus 1 through 3. Right at the end, I especially, had some good bigger accomplishments with preparing and breaking down with speed and efficiency. A big reason was having everything into separate bags already and already basically prepped, like having the materials ready, kind of like if you were cooking something and you had everything already, cut and measured out for you before you started cooking. So this was really helpful. So the first time this took 15 minutes to do, and the second time it took me 7 minutes to do. And then this took 29 minutes to do the first time, and the second time it took 12 minutes. So pretty good overall. This is Opus 10 number 1. This is Opus 10 number 2. And number 3, I'm not really sure how long it takes, but I've been working on it, and we'll see. There's so much in that one, in that setup, that it's insanely long and not even on the charts yet. But this is a pretty good accomplishment for today, bringing it down to 7 minutes to prepare for the Etude Opus 10 number 1 and 12 minutes for Opus 10 number 2. I think I could be even faster the more I just memorize what's going on and move a little quicker. I made a couple silly mistakes that made me, waste a little time too. Also just having more fishhook screws and more of the other materials that I have to, so I don't have to borrow from other things that I'm doing, which takes up a lot of time because I don't want to lose track of those things. So I'm always like logging it that I took it from this spot. So I think it would be even faster when I have more materials and sort of like designated materials to each of these etude setups, so that I can eventually perform them as a set in a reasonable amount of time for a listener. And then I dropped a few things in the soundboard, so I had to tweeze them out, and that took time too. So this is a really interesting day. It was actually pretty grueling, if I have to be honest, because like working for speed and efficiency can sometimes be pretty tough because the stopwatch doesn't lie. And I'm just trying to sort of memorize and move efficiently and memorize everything and just be tactful for what I can transfer from one setup to the other. And all those things take a lot of mental and physical energy. So it was a pretty exhausting day in a good way. And I learned a lot. And I can't wait to continue this project. And thank you for watching. Have a great day or night.